Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Now I know I haven't uploaded for a few days, but I have been a little bit unwell. Results, which is rather unfortunate because it's the first time I've been invited to go out somewhere for a very, very long time. But anyway, today we're going to be looking at a band called Downfall of Gaia. Now, I've not heard of this band before, so, as is my norm, I had to do a little bit of research as to who the band were. And what I found was quite intriguing. Downfall of Gaia are an extreme metal band formed in 2008 by Dominic Goncalves dos Reis, nice traditional German name there, and and Anton Lisovoy. I do apologise if I got that wrong. Their current lineup is completed by drummer Michael Cadner and guitarist Peter Wolf. Peter Wolf. Anyway, they transformed their initial crust punk sound through the incorporation of black metal, doom metal, and post-rock influences. To date, they have released 5 studio albums. So there we go. Now, it says there, you know, they initially started out as crust punk. I'm not entirely sure what crust punk is. I remember when I was in Repulsive Vision, the guitarist and founder of the band used to talk about crust punk a lot. And I still don't know what it is. I've never actually decided to look it up. Anyway, so yeah, they initially started off focusing on crust punk and D-beat. I'm not sure what that is either. But they later incorporated all these other elements into it. So I'm rather curious as to what this is going to sound like. I've got no idea. I've got no idea what sort of sound to expect from this band. Now, I have got lyrics to this track. Every set of lyrics I found to this was in German. And despite being born in Germany, I do not speak German. So I have got a translation here. I don't know how accurate it's going to be. So if it is horrendously inaccurate, please do let me know. And, you know, I do apologise because I looked around for a translation, but I couldn't really find one. So, yeah, I've no idea what to expect from this. So we'll just jump straight into it and see what we've got. Oh yeah, we're looking at a track called Bodies as Driftwood, forgot to mention that. So this is Bodies as Driftwood by Downfall of Gaia. Let's have a look. Hmm. Oh, very interesting. That I said before I didn't know what I was expecting going into this, and to be honest, I can say that's not what I expected. To be fair, I mean, in all fairness, I was sort of thrown a curveball because when the piece of music starts, you know, there's that initial piece of music which had a really very prominent bass line come forward, and it sounded like it was going to be a completely different style of music. You know, going by the way that the initial part of the music video started, it sounded like there was going to be possibly clear vocals involved. But then it dropped into this incredible, fast-paced black metal thing, which I didn't see coming at all. I mean, obviously it said in like the description, you know, they incorporated black metal, doom metal elements. That's a hell of an incorporation now. I mean, that's going straight from like just sort of regular sort of post-rock metal sort of sound and just dropping straight into black metal. It was very unexpected. And obviously, you know, it had the sort of very black metal inspired vocal performance as well. Now this intrigues me. Because the song is called Bodies as Driftwood, and what I saw in the video sort of gives me a hint as to what it was about. But then I read the lyrics here, and like I said, this is a translation I got, so it might not be accurate. And it kind of fits in with what I think it was saying, but I'm not entirely sure. Because with the title being Bodies as Driftwood, and, you know, with the incorporation of the video, it sort of seems to be like people just drifting through life. You know, there's a woman throughout the video who was just sort of sitting there at her desk, just pressing buttons on her keyboard, sort of monotonous, repetitive sort of behaviours and reactions. You know, she's not actually living life, she's just drifting through life like Driftwood on a stream. You know, there seems to be no purpose into where she's going. You know, there's no direction. She's just sort of following the tide, you know, just letting herself be dragged along. You know, so there was no purpose or destination to what she was doing. And then towards the end of the video, she sort of stood up and went, you know what, fuck this. I'm going to go out and, you know, live my life and enjoy myself by the looks of things. That's what it looked like. You know, she decided to make a conscious change to her life to get out of this monotonous, repetitive loop. That's what it seemed to suggest to me, you know, going by the name of the song and what we saw in the video. However, we then look at the lyrics, and again, this could very well be a completely horrendously bad translation. I don't know. Darkness makes me dance, black curtain, my exile. You shall be forever far away from any loneliness. Weightless in the here and now, I'll make myself known when you're not looking, and so I dance through the night. So, yeah, you know, darkness makes me dance. You know, in the blackest, I'm happiest in the blackest of times. Doesn't seem right. Black curtain, my exile. Now that kind of makes a suggestion, sort of like black curtain. You know, everything's sort of closed off from the outside. You know, you're in a very sort of dark space. You're exiled from everything. You know, black curtains are cutting off the light from everything. You shall be forever far away from any loneliness. So you'll never be lonely? That's what that suggests. You know, you shall be forever far away from loneliness. So you'll never be lonely. That suggests. Weightless in the here and now. I'll make myself known when you're not looking. Unless this is this is him talking from the perspective of a mental state, possibly. You know, this is the mental state that this person finds themselves in. You know, this mental state thrives in darkness. Black curtain, my exhale, so this down and depressing mood thrives in darkness, and you shall forever be far away from any loneliness. So I'm going to follow you everywhere. I am it's almost like he's talking about the physical embodiment of depression and loneliness. So it's like this sort of black cloud, if you will, is following you everywhere. You're never going to be alone because I'm going to be constantly hovering over you. Could that possibly be what it means? Darkness makes me dance. In the darkest of places, I really enjoy myself. So when you're in a really dark place, I come out and I dance around, because I'm happy that you're miserable, because I am your misery, maybe. And I'll make myself known when you're not looking. So, I'm going to creep up on you and go, hey, I'm here. Even, when you're just sitting there minding your own business, doing whatever you're doing, you might be sitting there reading a book, or you might be sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden this depression is going to crawl up on you and go, guess who's here? I'm going to make myself known when you're not looking. You're not looking to be depressed. You're not looking to be miserable. So you're just sitting there, and then all of a sudden it materializes. And so I dance through the night. So it's like I'm just gonna follow you around, and I'm going to bother you all throughout the night. This is where I thrive. This is where I get my enjoyment. Could this be what that means? I don't know. Anyway. Once sown confidence, but drought set in, surrounded by millions, staring into the void. Hands that hold me and break me, so I pull the dark veil over the scarred body. So once sown confidence, so maybe you were once a very, very confident person. Maybe, once you were a real go-getter. Maybe once you had pride in everything that you did, but drought set in. So now everything's gone barren, everything's gone dry. You don't find any enjoyment in life. Nothing. You've found no fulfillment. So you're sitting there, you're miserable, bored, depressed, going through the same routine over and over and over again, possibly. Surrounded by millions, staring into the void. So no matter how many people around you, you're just sort of sitting there staring into darkness, trying to face this depression alone, possibly. It sounds a lot like one of my favourite quotes. It's like, there's nothing worse than feeling completely alone, no matter how many people are around you. So this person could be surrounded by hundreds of people that like and care about her, but there's just that something missing. There's that constant misery hanging over her, that depression, if you will, that's making her feel very alone. And so despite there's all these people around her, she's still staring into the darkness, having to face this misery and this depression as she feels by herself, possibly. Hands that hold me and break me. I'm not sure about that bit. And so I pull the dark veil over the scarred body. So hands that hold me and break me, this is people trying to tear her out of the depression, people trying to, include her, people trying to, cheer her up, that sort of thing. So I pull the dark veil over the scarred body, so, the misery, the depression works even harder to make her miserable, possibly. I could be way off base, and, this only occurred to me once I started reading it. And, like I said, going along with the music video, because there was that point there where, it said surrounded by millions staring into the void. There was a point in the video where she was standing on the street, just staring dead ahead, and there was all these people rushing around her, so I could be right. I could be way off base. Like I said, the translation might not be accurate. But, given the title of the song, given the nature of the video, it seems possible. When you look at the lyrics like that. So, I will say, it was a very interesting piece of music. Like I said, it started off completely different to how it proceeded. That's not right. It started off very different to how it carried on. Even that doesn't make much sense. But you know what I mean, you know. The way it started, it was very misleading, and then, you know, suddenly dropping into that black metal thing. And, you know, the performance of it was very, very good. I'll say I did feel possibly a little bit disappointed, because, you know, that initial piece of music, it sounded amazing. You know, it sounded really, really good. You know, that really thick, prominent bass line sounded beautiful. And, you know, I was expecting a really nice, beautiful piece of music. And then the black metal element dropped in. Now, don't get me wrong, I did like the piece of music. I thought it sounded good. But, you know, I was sort of all geared up for one sort of piece of music. And then, but then again, that could be a trick of the meaning of the song as well. You know, it's sounding sort of hopeful and upbeat to start with, and then sort of dropping into this violent, aggressive thing. You know, that could also, excuse me, go along with the theme of the song, possibly. You know, so that disappointment, I felt maybe that was an intentional part of the creation of this piece of music, which, if it was, is very, very clever. So yeah, I mean, I liked it. I'd be intrigued to investigate this band further. So if anybody knows of any songs by them that they think I should listen to, please do drop a suggestion, because I'd be very intrigued to see if the music varies all that much, you know, because it says, you know, black metal, doom metal, and post rock. You know, there wasn't really much of a doom metal influence, in my opinion, in that particular piece of music. Are there more sort of doom heavy tracks? You know, are there slower, more melodic pieces of music by the band? I'm very interested to discover more, and if anybody can tell me more, or, you know, like I said, suggest me another piece of music that they think I should listen to, then please do, because I'm very intrigued by them. So yeah, I will have to look into them further, but I don't know what else I can say about that. So I'll leave that as it is. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and maybe even a subscribe, because it would really, really help me out, because as it stands at the moment, I think only about 10% of the people watching my videos actually like or subscribe. And, you know, it would really help out the channel. You know, it only takes a couple of seconds. It doesn't cost you anything. You know, and yeah, it'd be really nice if you could. Please. But yeah, yeah, I don't know what else I can say. So yeah, thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.